I think there are 3 points playing into why the US is choosing to push Russia and China together. It's not like they want this to happen. It's just, in their opinion, from their view, their best strategic choice. The first thing is, on one hand, Russia has infinite resources and all countries want them. Russia is an infinite resource tank. Anything you want, Russia probably has it somewhere lying around in its massive territory. So everybody wants to trade with Russia. On the other hand, it's also a nuclear power. So you cannot just take those resources because you will get nuked. You cannot realistically invade and take over parts of Russia. Russia will literally destroy you and everyone on this planet if you try. So the only country that does have a realistic choice of ever conquering, invading parts of Russia is China itself, another nuclear power that is bordering Russia and could send troops right over, take parts of Siberia, whatever. But China is also the most peaceful country on earth. So the US knows China would not attack Russia without being attacked by Russia first or being forced in any other way by Russia to attack. So the US has, in my personal opinion, already acknowledged that they cannot reasonably control or make use of Russian resources. They can only stop the flow of Russian resources to other nations. And the reality when it comes to stopping those flows to other nations is that they can never stop the flows to China, because Russia and China share a small land border, and they can definitely always train and will defend that border against foreign intervention. When you look at this, Russia is a big resource basket. What are the options? Either you keep friendly terms with China and keep Russia and China apart, but then Russia will do everything it can to make peace and sell to Europe. So the better choice from the US perspective is actually to choose to continue its vassalization of Europe, which will force Russia to sell to China. The US will never be able to control both sides. Either Russia will sell to Europe or Russia will sell to China. These are the options, and the US cannot control both sides. So the US has decided it will, rather than to try and control everybody, they will focus on controlling Europe and split the world into East and West to make sure that the resource flows to the West stop and Russia is forced to sell to the East. I think this is just the US cutting its strategic losses and saying Russia and China are a better match than Europe and Russia, because George Friedman predicted all the way, I think in 2007 or so, Europe is destined for conflict. And the most important strategic objective of the United States in Europe is to split Russia and Germany apart, because a unison of German political control in Europe, as well as know-how and manufacturing base, matched with Russian resources, such an alliance would be an even bigger threat to US domination of the world than just the rising China. So I believe this is just US cutting its losses, deciding Russia-China alliance is preferable over EU-Russia alliance. And I think what plays into this is that Russia is a capitalist, highly religious country with highly conservative people that have a very strong national identity. On the other hand, you have China, which is a socialist country, very atheistic, non-religious, at the very least its government. And of course, they are racially, culturally, ethnically different. So the US probably thinks it's easier to split Russia and China at a later date apart than it will be to split Europe and Russia apart if they ever form an alliance. Because Europeans are ethnically, racially, culturally more aligned with Russia than the Chinese. So I think this is why the US is choosing to allow Russia and China to come together.